Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. It feels so good to be back. Now let's take a look at this. The question of the day is, Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, is he too old for the Canelo fight? Let's get into it. Triple G is 36 years old, and he's facing a much younger opponent in Saul Canelo Alvarez, who's 28 years old. Now, typically, once you get into your mid-30s, about 33, 34, 35, your age starts to show. Triple G is over that point, and he's at 36 years old. And a lot of people are saying, in their predictions leading up to the fight, is the reason why they're picking Canelo for this and that reason is that Triple G's just too old. He's just too old. A lot of the guys that I'm debating on social media, online, or in the comment sections are all saying Triple G's just too old. He's going to show signs of aging. You even get guys such as a Teddy Atlas that are saying these same things as well. So I just wanted to dig into this and kind of calm some of those fears of those Triple G fans about Triple G's age, what it means, and how it goes. All right, now let's dig into this. The first thing is mileage. Triple G is 36 years old. You can't change your age, but you can look into the mileage of a fighter. How often you've been fighting, how much punishment have you taken, and how often do you fight? And so all these things are essential. And have you taken any breaks? So Triple G's record stands at 38-0 with 1 draw and 34 knockouts. And let's take a look at his last 5 fights just to be sure about some of the mileage that he's had. And so looking at his last 5 fights, the first one being the Vanish Martirosyan fight earlier this year. And basically he finished him in 2 rounds. So that's not much mileage, not much damage, not much of anything. As I recall, Martirosyan didn't land anything significant at all on Triple G the entire fight. It was an easy night work for Gennady Golovkin. Finished Martirosyan in 2 rounds. Light work. He didn't get really any mileage on his body since then. Now, you also have to look at the last Canelo fight is the one before that. And that was in September of last year. And if you look at that, Triple G did take some punishment, but was never visibly or significantly hurt. So basically, he's had almost a year off because the Martirosyan fight ended so early. And aside from that, he's basically had almost a year to fully recuperate. So I think that's a big, big plus. And then you look prior to the Saul Canelo Alvarez fight. He fought once earlier that year with Danny Jacobs in March. So that was about 6 months apart. And that ended in a unanimous decision. And that fight, Triple G was never visibly shaken or hurt as well. In 2016, he fought twice, Kell Brook and Dominic Wade. And the Kell Brook fight ended in 5 rounds. The Dominic Wade ended in 2. The prior 2 with that, with David Lemieux, ended in 8. And the Willie Monroe Jr. ended in 6. So look at all of these stoppage wins that he has. He's not fighting full fights. He's not taking on a ton of punishment. Some of the most punishment that he's received recently was probably against Canelo and Danny Jacobs, and he was never really significantly hurt in either one of those bouts. He stood up to those challenges, and he's a bad motherfucker because he got a lot of guys out of there, and when he faced elite competition, he never took significant damage to show that he was wobbled or hurt significantly in any type of way. He's had about a year off since then, with making light work of Vanish Martirosyan in 2 rounds. So that's very, very good and telling about how great Triple G is. And his age, especially looking at the Martirosyan fight earlier this year, that was so quick, so swift. Even Martirosyan said that he expected Triple G to come in and brawl, and Triple G boxed him. It landed some clean shots. That's what he got, and he wasn't expecting that. He said Triple G's a lot quicker than you think. So typically when you say guys have a lot of miles on them, you'll think, oh, they're old, they have a lot of miles. He doesn't have a lot of miles. He has a lot of fights, but he doesn't have a lot of miles. At this point in his career, I could see Triple G performing at an elite level for another 2 to 3 years if he keeps a schedule of 2 fights a year and makes sure he gets consistent breaks and doesn't take any significant punishment. Now, another thing we have to look at when we look at Gennady Golovkin and about basically his age, where people want to say that he's old as fuck. I don't think he's old like that. I don't think he has the mileage, so I think we've covered that. Then let's also look, what does a young fighter rely on? So if Canelo Alvarez, if you were going to say he's old, what does he rely on? What does a lot of fighters rely on? They rely on their speed or athleticism. And those are not things that Gennady Golovkin has ever been known for, speed or athleticism. Gennady Golovkin is known for his power. And as we all know, the one lasting feature that any fighter has is his power. So if you're a significant power puncher, you're going to have that well into old age. And he showed earlier this year that he still had the power to get rid of Martirosyan quickly. So that shows a lot about Gennady Golovkin, and the fact that his power was still there and it lasted. Now, if you look at a guy like Vanes Martirosyan, he had never been stopped in his entire career until he faced Gennady Golovkin. So that's also telling. Gennady Golovkin is a very strong fighter. His power is obviously still there. He's not going to completely age overnight because he's not relying on his speed or athleticism to carry him in the fight. He relies on his power and, believe it or not, his ring IQ. Gennady Golovkin is a lot smarter and more talented of a boxer than people give him credit for. Gennady Golovkin found a way to mitigate the fight against Canelo and Danny Jacobs. You remember, Danny Jacobs didn't have any stamina issues against Gennady Golovkin, and yet he was able to mitigate that fight. To me, the opponent-wise, it appears that Danny Jacobs gave Triple G a harder time than Canelo Alvarez did. Yes, Canelo Alvarez got a lot of clean shots on him, and he didn't hit the deck at any point during the fight. All that being true, he won a lot more rounds against Canelo than he did Danny Jacobs. And also the knockdown against Jacobs is what swung the fight a little more in Triple G's favor. So these are things you have to look at, is that Triple G has been in with elite competition similar, or if not better, than Canelo Alvarez. And you understand that Danny Jacobs is not going to get the credit or recognition he deserves, but he's a very, very good fighter. He's elite, and he's at least on par with Canelo, regardless of what anybody thinks. Danny Jacobs is a full-fledged middleweight, while Canelo Alvarez is a smaller, undersized middleweight. And I understand you say body-wise, frame-wise, up until recently, he looks like to be a full-fledged middleweight, but his size purely has always been smaller than that. He's just been blown up for some reason. What that reason is, I don't know. I'll leave that to your imagination. But as I was saying, athleticism, speed are not things Gennady Golovkin needs to show that to perform at his best or at his peak. What Gennady Golovkin uses is his power, and that's proven and shown that will last time and time again. Gennady Golovkin also showed two more things in that fight against Vanes Martirosyan, and that's timing and distance. That's something Golovkin has always had, and he uses his distance with the jab and his timing on when to throw the right punch, how to throw the right punch. These are all intelligence IQ level things, and so these aren't things that you're going to lose with time. Look at Sugar Shane Mosley. Timing, distance, and power, all three of those things led him to knock down Sean Porter in sparring. That lets you know how good you can still be even as an older fighter. And Shane Mosley is much older than Triple G. Triple G is still performing at an elite level against top opponents. So that's not going to be a factor in this fight. Triple G will not age in this fight. You will not see signs of aging in this fight. You will not see signs of slowing down. If we're going to be really thorough and convinced, you're going to see the same Triple G, if not better, than what you've ever seen before. Richard Schaefer has went to one of the training camps, went to a sparring session with Triple G earlier a few weeks ago, and he's basically came back with a glowing report stating that he saw Triple G and he had never seen a fighter perform that well or train that hard in sparring other than Floyd Mayweather Jr. That says a lot about Gennady Golovkin. Please don't believe the critics and the pundits. and people saying that Triple G is aged completely and significantly. Triple G is taking care of his body. Triple G is a workaholic. And Triple G still has his IQ and his power. Remember those things on fight nights, fight fans. Once again, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.